Inside Huntsville with Brenda Martin, a conversation with department heads at City Hall on streets, ball fields, public safety, and more. And also with our community partners that add economic security, support education, and enhance the city's quality of life.
Hello and welcome to our show. I'm Brenda Martin for Inside Huntsville, where we give you an inside view of what's going on in our city departments and with our community partners who enrich the lives of you, our citizens. Huntsville-Madison County Convention and Visitors Bureau Vice President of Conventions, Bob Rogers, is here today to discuss the economic impact conventions have in our city. With 30 plus years in the industry, Bob and his staff stands ready to assist you with all your planning needs. He knows the ins and outs of pulling off a seamless meeting in the Rocket City. Bob, thanks for joining us. What I know to be a very busy time in your schedule. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks so much for having us.
So, Bob, tell us a little bit about who Bob Rogers is.
Bob Rogers is a person from Miami, Florida, who got in the hotel business at 15 years old. It's been a couple of years. And went to Florida International University, got a degree there. Traveled the country. I was in 6 or 7 different cities in different capacities in the hotel business and landed here in 1988. I was supposed to be here for 2 years. And like so many others, I love the area, so here I am. I ran the Hilton for 15 years.
Sure did.
And then left there for a while, ran the Jackson Center for a couple of years, and landed at the CVB. So it's been a great ride, and it's been a lot of fun.
And you have been in the industry a long time, haven't you?
I definitely have, and enjoyed every minute of it.
It's been great. So tell us about the Huntsville-Madison County Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Okay, well, I guess some very wise men back in 1970 decided we need a Convention and Visitors Bureau to promote the city and all it has to do. And so it actually began back in there. It's a 501c6. It has a 9-member board. And we have 14 full-time employees. We have a budget that's somewhere in the neighborhood of $2 million. And in 2008, I believe, or 9, there was a study done, and visitors and tourism coming into the city equates to $990,000+ and equates to about 14 or 15,000 jobs in the industry. So it is a huge business and a huge economic motivator.
There are 3 major departments in the CVB, and it's marketing, tourism, and convention.
Correct.
And Europe, of course, is over the convention area. Tell us a little bit more about that in detail.
Okay, well, marketing really touches everything. They are the voice of our organization. So we're in publications, we're on social media, we're in the press, we do press releases. They actually are involved in bringing fam tours or familiarization tours to the city. We have travel writers come in. So they're the ones that touch all those people to get the word out on who we are and what we have to offer, and do a fabulous job. They support the tourism part as well. The tourism area works both with individual travelers, just anybody coming into Huntsville and wanting some information. We have a tourist center at the airport, and we have one in downtown at 500 Church Street, which if nobody's visited or haven't visited, you ought to come by and see it. It's a great place, and there's so much information there that's very helpful to everybody.
There's a lot of information at the center. In fact, there's one thing new that you guys have there now, and that's the selfie. Let's talk about that. That's great.
The selfie, we have a green screen, and we have the different attractions. So if it's raining, doesn't matter. Come in, do a selfie, and you will be at the Botanical Garden or the U.S. Space and Rocket Center or a number of attractions and city venues that we have. And people love it. They come in and they take 2 or 3. It gets emailed to them, so they got the picture of them in Huntsville. It's great. Fun. A lot of people enjoy that.
Yeah. You have a lot of visitors that come in and out of that area, don't you?
We do. And actually, spring break coming up is going to be,
goodness,
we're very busy that time of year. But yeah, there's people in there all the time. We've got an incredible staff that's been there for so many years. And not only do they know Huntsville and Madison County, but they know North Alabama. And we even have brochures for Birmingham and those places. So if they're on their way to somewhere, we can possibly help them with that as well. So they're incredibly gifted people that have a nice way with people and welcome
A lot
into our
of
city.
great volunteers you have as well, don't you?
Yeah, we have 14 full-time staff, and then a number of other full-time staff and part-time staff, and then a ton of
A
volunteers.
ton of
Yeah,
volunteers.
and
Yeah.
so
People who love the city and they just want to be able to share with our visitors as they come in.
and they do. What a better place to promote.
I know, I know. Now, you as Vice President of Convention, tell us what your department's role is in the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Okay. Well, we are the group that's charged with bringing in conventions and meetings, as well as, I mean, there's a lot of companies here who bring in meetings as well, so we can support them in a number of ways. But our main goal is to bring in conventions into the city, and it doesn't really matter how small or how large. We have family reunions for 10 people will come see us, and they'll get our brochures, and they'll get maps and information of something that their people might want to see and do while they're here. We can work up itineraries, so we can say, it'll take you 3 hours to do this and 3 hours to do that, and you're in this area, these meals would be available, and that sort of thing. All the way up to what we spoke about a little earlier, the Gold Wing Road Riders, which will be here the week before and of Labor Day this year, where you're talking 10 to 12,000 people in Huntsville. So they'll basically not only take over the city as far as rooms go, they'll be out in Decatur, they'll be in Scottsboro, they'll be up in Tennessee, they'll be all over the place. So we are the ones that go out, solicit, and try to get these groups in, no matter what size. If it's good for Huntsville and good for them, we'd love to have them here.
So now, let's take Gold Wing, for instance, so to give our viewers an idea of exactly how you go about getting conventions.
Okay.
Of course, they are in numbers, how many thousand?
No, it's 10,000 people in round
10,000
numbers.
people.
Yeah.
So we're looking at having, now, how did they approach, did they approach you or did you approach them?
Well, they were here actually in the 90s,
Yes.
late 90s.
Okay.
And some of you may remember that. But it was a very large group back then. As a matter of fact, the year they left, they said that was a record year for them. And they're anticipating that. The pace we're on, this will be a record year here. So we're in a good location. We've got beautiful outdoors and things to do, and it's great for those people. So I believe, again, this was booked before my time at the CVB, but how it would normally work is we're obviously going to be utilizing the files we have on companies, and there was probably a recall on it, or we went after them again and said, do you have any interest in coming back to Huntsville? It's been a number of years. And so we did that. We met with them. They asked about our facilities, what's new, what's not new. They knew how we worked last time, so they were comfortable with our staff and our people in the city. And brought them in, looked the city over, and we made a bid on it.
How do we accommodate such a large group here in the city of Huntsville?
Well, once we know what the group wants, and again, we'll talk to them. We'll say, what's important to you? I mean, they need to have a successful meeting if we want to rebook them. So the first thing is to find out, what do these people really want?
What do you want? Yes.
What's going to make you happy and what's going to make you successful? And then try to fit all the pieces that we have into what they need and give them suggestions. And then a group this size, bring them in and then do a familiarization tour with the city. So we'll take them to the Space and Rocket Center and Burritt and Early Works and Low Mill. So, I mean, they get a feel for the city. We'll show them the hotel rooms, where they are, where they're located relative to where they're having their meetings, get them to the VBC so they can talk to them. So we're the liaison that kind of puts the pieces of the puzzle together and makes it easy for them so they're not doing all the legwork on this.
All the legwork, yeah.
And that's the one thing we can do, is save a tremendous amount of time. We listen to them, we give them options, and then we can put out RFPs saying, this is what you seem to have requested. Is this what you're after? Yes. And then we can ship it out to the attractions and the hotels and build those room blocks that they need. They're the ones that end up signing contracts, but we do the legwork and work with them.
Now, how many conventions per year, Bob, approximately come into Huntsville? Any idea?
We touch, last year was around 1,100. The year before was 1,100, give or take, about the same for the last 2 years. And again, that's big conventions as well as small conventions.
And how many rooms can we accommodate?
We have round numbers, 6,700 rooms in Madison County.
That's not enough, though, is it?
Well, it's never enough. But depending on the size of the group, no, it would be.
I mean, when you're looking at these large conventions, isn't that why we're trying to?
Well, if you're talking downtown, we've got a couple new hotels hopefully coming online shortly. There's certainly we've made it be known that what I'm finding out when I talk to people is they want things easy. Mm-hmm. So what you want is easy to them is I've got one hotel or two attached to the Civic Center, and I can fit all my people in there, and I can deal with the Civic Center. That's easy because it's all in one place, mm-hmm. and they can get the contracts, and there's just a few people to talk to. Mm-hmm. When we're dealing with 30 hotels located around Madison County, it's difficult to get a meeting to come here, even though we have great facilities and great people and great attractions, when it's much easier to do it somewhere where they can put them all in one hotel. Mm-hmm. So,
but we're working on that, aren't we?
I hear we're working on that.
Yes.
That's
indeed.
a good thing for us from a meeting standpoint.
Exactly. Now, with so many conventions that exist, who does Huntsville or Alabama compete with? Do we compete with
the easy answer,
other southeast
yes.
eastern places?
We compete with everybody. From a Goldwing, we competed with everybody in the country.
Okay.
When you're talking a small group, let's put it this way. There are about 14 or 15 CVBs just in Alabama alone, which may seem like a lot, and it does to me. Mm-hmm. You talk about the country, I mean, you're talking over 1,000 easily. So it's a very, very competitive business. Now, certain market segments look at certain areas. For instance, association business, I'll be in Washington with a couple of our people in the Von Braun Center next week.
And what will you be doing there?
We're trying to get association business, which is kind of the larger group and professional groups, to come to Huntsville, utilize the VBC space and the hotels. So we'll be up there promoting our city up there. Smaller groups, again, family reunions, things mm-hmm. like that. A lot of people are local and know us and say, hey, I want you to come experience my city. And we help them put together, again, some of them already have made a lot of arrangements, and we just provide collateral for them. Others want us to do the whole thing with them. So again, we'll do just what we do with a huge convention. Mm-hmm. What do you want to do? What side of town do you want to be on? Where do you want to be? What do you want to, what attractions do you want to see? And try to put together some things for them to do and places to stay so that it's easy for them and people have a great time and talk about us greatly and come back again.
Mm-hmm. So you work with individuals that want to have family reunions?
Absolutely. Weddings.
And weddings?
We have weddings, family reunions, again, Goldwing. AUSA is coming up shortly.
Let's talk about that. What is AUSA?
Association of United States Army. There's a meeting called Global Forces Symposium Exposition coming in. They were here last year, and we actually took the piece of business from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Mm-hmm. So
that's huge.
They came here, and it was much bigger than they thought the first year, and we think it'll be even bigger this year. But yeah, they'll utilize a few thousand room nights, or a few thousand rooms per night while they're here. They've got all the Von Braun Center space. There's a lot of entertaining and things that go on, and a lot of business being done, so they're utilizing our restaurants all the time. So they'll be at the Space and Rocket Center one night for an event. So they really utilize everything we have in the city.
So the economic impact for the city is huge.
It's absolutely huge.
Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about how we can, or the process in which you guys, because obviously there's a lot of people that are involved in the entire process. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, if you came to us and you said, hey, I have a convention, and we do have this, we have a lot of people that goes, I have no clue how to do this,
Yes.
so I
Okay.
need some help. Well, our staff comes from a varying background, so we all have some skill levels that others don't. So we can put something together pretty well for you. But basically, we want to sit down with them and say, what's the scope of your group? Is it huge? Is it small? Can you fit in one hotel? Do you need to fit in one hotel? Can you be in 10 hotels? Are there locations that you'd like to be in? What would you like to, if they say, I'd like to go here, but I got 800 people, so well, 800 people doesn't fit here. So you have these choices. So we can narrow things down and help them come up with some ideas on what would make a successful or a great meeting for them, as well as promote our city for us. And then once we do that, then we can start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. For instance, if we know they're using the Von Braun Center, we can take them over there. This is Marie, this is Steve, this is whoever they need to talk to. If they're going to the Space and Rocket Center, we can make that introduction. We can put out RFPs to hotel requests for proposals so that we say these dates are what's important, this is their budget, can you do this for them? And we can gather all that information. And then we go through it with them and see if that's what they'd like to do, and then they can sign the contracts that they need. But they've got people they can go to. We've done a lot of the legwork for them. They're very comfortable with all the facilities and the attractions we have. And it makes life so much quicker, so much easier. And I think that's why a lot of people use convention and visitors bureaus, if they're aware of them, because we are a terrific go-to source and can make your life so much easier than you trying to do it on your own.
And even for individuals that are having a wedding, I mean, because that's pretty
stressful. I've been through a couple.
That's kind of stressful too, and it's amazing that, and it's interesting that you all provide services for a wedding. Talk about that a little
Absolutely.
bit.
I mean, we know all the wedding venues. Van is the one who handles most
Van
of
Brown?
the Van Brown is most of the
Yes,
servicing, but he keeps in touch with these people. He knows what they can handle and what they can't handle, what they're comfortable with. If you wanted to go to this place and you wanted to bring in a caterer, he could tell you, well, that's not normally what they do. You have these options if you want to have a caterer. If you want to do it in a house, these are your options. Size-wise, this is your options. What do you want them to do when they're here? Well, if they want to stay in this place, this is close by, and they could do these. We can have discount coupons. We have all the
That's great.
brochures and anything to do with our city. Ghost trails and history trails. If you're into history, you want to go to the Space and Rocket Center. You want to go to SideQuest. I mean, any of these attractions. You want to play golf at Robert Trent Jones. We know where they are. We know who to put them in touch with if they want to, or we can handle the legwork for them. So
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to ask you a little bit about golf because we have the Robert Trent Jones Trail.
correct.
We get a lot of people from all over the country that come that want to play the trail.
And
So
we're the
talk
first
about
stop
that.
on the trail.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, and actually Don, who does our sports.
Oh, yes, okay.
He was up in Louisville last week or the week before with the Robert Trent Jones people, and promoting their site as well as the rest of the trail. But we're in a unique position because we are the top of the trail. So if you're going to come down from Ohio or Lexington or wherever, you'll probably stop here, play here first, and then head down to the other places.
So do we help provide all of the what to do and where to go
Absolutely.
for those individuals?
Absolutely.
Since we're at the top of the.
Yeah. No, I mean, we can do that. And again, like I said earlier, if you come to our visitor center, we've got all the information for the other cities. We have the golf trail book, but generally the reservations are made ahead of time. So we'd like to keep them here an extra day if we could and show some of the attractions and where to eat and dining guides. And so there's a lot of information. And not only do we have it, I think if you go to Robert Trent Jones, you'll see that we have a number of our materials out there that makes sense for a golfer to know where to eat and sleep and that sort of thing.
And another area is that I want to talk a little bit about is family reunions, because we have a lot of family reunions coming.
We do.
Particularly in the summertime.
Yep, it is the season right now. We're getting all our brochures in order, and
Okay.
because we're starting to get calls on them. And you're exactly right. This is when people plan. It's the spring, and they're getting ready for summer and fall, and that is when it happens. And some are very large. I mean, some are talking hundreds of people, and some are, like 10 people or 15 people. But it's wonderful for people in the city to be proud of it and want to bring people here. And we're ready to help anybody in any way we can.
That's great. That is great. Well, you have certainly shared a lot of information with us. We're going to have you on again. And I'm hoping that we can be out, my producer and I will be out at some of the convention sites that are coming into Huntsville.
That'd be wonderful.
So that we can share that information with our viewers. Bob, my producer, is giving me the sign. Okay, so let me thank you so very much for taking time out of, like I said, what I know to be a very busy schedule for you. You're on your way to Washington pretty soon to bring in some other conventions. We want to thank you again for taking the time, and we want to thank you for joining us today. I'm Brenda Martin for Inside Huntsville. Thank you.